some kayaks over there.
Go for a bit of naked kayaking.
Why not?
There's naked bicycling in there as well. I think that's a step too far then.
Each to their own. I think it's absolutely fine.
Hello and welcome to Croatia. We've had some great sailing and a few surprises as well.
Yeah, dolphins.
Amongst other
We've
things.
seen one or two as we're sailing, but there's usually only one or two on their own and they don't come and play. But then one time we got very, very lucky.
Yep, we've had some bad luck as well though. Near disaster or without batteries. We hope we got round that.
Well, where there's sun, there's power. I hope you like the film. Coming up, the sun is out, the clothes are off. Welcome to Croatia. When there's wind, there's great sailing. And the dance of the dolphins. We have a ringside seat. Well, it's incredibly beautiful, but incredibly empty.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing. Here we've met a couple of people who've come down with their caravans, but no one on the beach. And it's a nice enough day.
Yeah, no one in the pools. Markets are closed. What was it I said before we left? Let's get some groceries. There were shops in Croatia, you said. But they're all closed.
Well, there are shops in Croatia. We just have to find them.
Yeah, we're going to go on an expedition. We'll find something. I want to find a restaurant as well for lunch.
Croatia is ready for the tourists when they can get here. This campsite has pretty much everything and is anticipating the crowds. Yeah, there's a sign here to say you're not allowed to reserve the deck chairs, just in case you were tempted.
People. There are people.
The campsite next door is much more popular. But it's also a little different. And the summer season means boat trips. But you'd want to, if you were here on holiday, you'd want to hire a boat, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm sure they do hire boats.
They've got some kayaks over there.
Go for a bit of naked kayaking.
Why not? The season has begun. We feel a little overdressed. Back on Fair Isle, we have visitors in the Anchorage. Pop your head out of an evening to see what's going on, and suddenly there's a whole pod of dolphins. It's just amazing. The next day was a little overcast, so we decided to do some inland exploring.
Let's go.
The Croatian islands are wonderfully fertile. The coastline is famously rocky rather than sandy beaches, and the weather is unpredictable. But as we walk through several holiday complexes which are empty, it's clear that sometime in the past this place has been packed with holidaymakers.
Lovely flowers.
I think this has been closed for a while, look. It's pretty overgrown and there's no one here at all. Nothing's open at all.
Yeah.
I wonder when it starts. We're headed for the town of Rovinj, and along the way we find some places are open.
I didn't think we'd find a restaurant all the way out here.
It's camping. Thank goodness for campers. They're all along this coast. It's really good. It's a lovely coast for camping as well, so I can see why. Rovinj is a beautiful old town, and it seems as though any visitors to Croatia are here. food, history and cobbled streets. Loads of these wine and cheese places. Really lovely. There's also a busy little harbour. We got a different view of the town the next day from the water. We also had a bit of wind, so we managed a day sail down the coast before anchoring in another beautiful bay.
Well, we've woken up to the most fantastic morning here in Croatia after a week or so of pretty iffy weather. And we've got the perfect anchorage. This is Uvala Saline, and look, it's tree-lined, forests all around us, so perfect wind protection. And if you look at it on a map, you struggle to design an anchorage better than this one, a deep inlet with a big island in the mouth of it, and it's just down the coast from Pula, where we stopped last year, which is a really nice city, and you can walk to there from here. So it really is nice. We're going to stay here for a few days. We're going to reprovision a bit.
For me, that also means finding a good place for running. I've just seen some people walking through the woods there, so that's where I'm going to go. And Steve has volunteered to do the shopping. Thank you, Steve.
I can buy all the right things then.
Okay, I trust you.
Oh, that's silly. Should be okay there? Oh, it's no tide, it's not going to go anywhere. The freak wave comes up.
I'm not a great runner, but I am a sucker for a coastal path. So while I set off, Steve takes a more leisurely look around the campsite. Not many people, but at least there is a shop for the basics. On our way back, we spot an ominous sign: no anchoring. Sure enough, when we return to the boat, we're told politely that we have to take a buoy if we want to stay.
Told us specifically this is a good place, but
yeah. we 3 years ago we entered some regulations just because of that.
At least this time it's only £20.
I think charging for anchoring is something that us sailors must resist at all costs. I certainly will never pay for anchoring in open sea. I mean, they get away with it in harbours, obviously, and they're trying it in bays, which is is a real problem. And they didn't try and charge us to anchor in here, but they did make us move to the buoy, and it's a real shame because it's a beautiful bay, this, and quite deep, close to shore. I mean, obviously, before you can see down here, they've got posts ready for a bit of stern anchoring. So the policy was right in the past, and now they're just trying to make more money and say no, you've got to take the buoys and keep it as that, which I don't know if they carry on down that line. I think it's gonna ruin sailing in Croatia and elsewhere as well. Lots of people are filling bays with buoys and saying that's what you've got to do. We've got to do something about it, really. We're going to try and get all the gas canisters full. He was quite confident, the chap in the shop, that he could do anything, but I have got a box of adapters which might help.
Yes.
We haven't managed to get this one filled since Cartagena,
that's
you
the
realise.
problem, isn't it? It's the adapters.
Well, yeah, I carried
much.
this about 3 miles last time on the way up in about August through Croatia to a place that said they could fill anything, and you couldn't fill this one. And it's great if we can, because this one lasts for a couple of months, whereas these a couple of weeks really. So we'll see.
This is quite a big marina with some rather special boats, but the only place for us to tie up is on the far side.
This is the closest we can get. It's right over the other side for the gas, but not too much for a walk. Easy when they're empty, a bit more difficult when they're full.
I hope they're going to be full. We don't know yet. As it turns out, the climb was worth it for the small bottles, and initially Steve thought we may get the big one filled too. But in the end, that didn't work out. But 2 canisters gives us enough for cooking for a couple of months, so result.
I'm sitting in a darkened engine room because I've turned all the house bank off. I've got a problem with it. If you'd seen the video I made a couple of weeks ago on the Bluetti, the solar power station generator thing that I did, I mentioned in there I was worried about our house bank, and I was right to be so. I could see there was a problem because although the battery monitor, we have shunts that are over here. So that feeds the battery monitor and gives you a percentage that the house bank is charged to. But they can be fooled by problems with their batteries, and I could tell that was the case because although they were saying they were full, the voltage wasn't what it should be, and you put a bit of a load on that, the voltage will drop quite quick. So that's a good indication that there's problems. Of course, the starter battery here is separate. I isolate that one, so that should be fine to start the main engine. But I've got to look at what's happening with the house bank. I also mentioned in that video the fact that it's not really well laid out in this boat just because of space. We've got one battery here, so there's one house bank that sits there next to the starter battery, but then quite a run away from that, all the way through here, there are the other two, and then you can see immediately problem. This one is absolutely about to blow up by the look of it. It's really expanded. That's not good. The other one as well, they were warm. They're obviously shorted inside, sulfation problems probably. Odd though, because the two that are in here shouldn't work as hard as the one that's in there. I expected the problem to be with the one in there, the closest one. So I'm going to have to disconnect these two. So that's all done. A moment of truth then. Let's make sure the actual engine starts. Although it's isolated, you never know when they were together whether fault with that battery, because it looks like it's shorted out, has damaged the starter battery as well. So let's just hope she starts. Phew. That's good news.
Okay, should we go sailing?
Yep, all good.
Until we get new batteries, we're relying on the Bluetti for charging phones and laptops, boiling the kettle, and pretty much everything else. In order to give us some more options, Steve's taking advantage of an exceptionally slow sailing day and putting in some new charging points in the doghouse. At the same time, he's taking a look at how to best use our main source of power, namely the sun.
The other thing I've done down here is I'm tapping into the power from the solar, because we've got the three big panels up there. We certainly don't need those for our one piddly little remaining house bank battery. So I've chopped into them here, put a couple of MP4s on, so I can then just unplug it from there, plug it in here, and that feeds the Bluetti, and that's just a lot quicker than doing it from the 12 volts. So that basically will now become our house bank for everything, certainly for all the mains off the Bluetti. Should be fine. Just to answer a question from our friend Lindsay, who's got one of these Bluettis and was looking at the connectors. I must admit I didn't even see it. On here, it's got a little plus sign there on the negative cable, PV negative. Well, that it is odd that it's got a plus sign on there. I don't know why, to be honest, but he thought they put the wrong connector on, but it isn't. That's definitely the right connector, because that's, although it looks like a male, isn't. It's a female, and that is the negative, and it does work. I mean, I've put the tester on it and looked at it to make doubly sure. And don't worry about plugging them and unplugging them when it's in operation. I mean, if it's really got a lot of sun, it might arc a bit, but so you might just stick something. I stick the wetsuit over the top if it's in the middle of the day, but it's absolutely fine the rest of the time. You can unplug and plug them.
Crystal clear water, uncrowded anchorages, and patches of seagrass. All we need now is a breeze.
Finally, we have good wind and it's in the right direction, so we're going to make our way south. I'm going to get ready, actually move some of these cars. It's one of the very few bad designs actually on this boat. You can't really move these under load, so you have to think ahead and get them in the right place beforehand. The other thing I'm going to do is take all this down obviously before we sail, and I'm going to take the battery and put it on the outboard itself and tow it and see if that regen works, because this is supposed to generate some power if you tow it along, so let's see. So let's have a little look. We've got 51% at the moment, it says, so we're not going that far, but let's see what we get when we charge as we go. been reached, so I don't need too much tension on the Yankee halyard, so I'll just give it enough to get rid of the wrinkles. Going to loosen the main outhaul a little bit as well. Give it a little bit more belly.
Okay, so not much wind then.
I'm not expecting this speed to actually produce any power, but let's just see if it's switched itself on and it's doing something. And look, something's happening. You can hear the whirring noise. The prop is going around. It's making noises. Still at 51%, of course, but who knows? You might actually get a charge even at this speed. It's amazing. I'm impressed. I didn't think 1.5 knots would be enough to turn it, but it is.
Well, it's flat calm. We're going very slowly, and we've spent the day looking at the view. By the time we get there, the sun will be setting. We'll drop the anchor and say that's the perfect end to a perfect sail without wind. As often happens in the Med, things change. This is 8 o'clock in the evening, and the anchorage we're heading for isn't recommended for overnight stays. But at least the breeze is offshore.
We weren't expecting sunset to be quite like this.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, we had nothing all day, then suddenly, about 15 minutes ago, it went whoosh, literally. So, yeah, got a reef in the Yankee, thank goodness, and yeah, it's going to be a rock and roll into the anchorage after all.
Yeah, we could do with one in the main as well, but we're just about to go in the lee of the land here and an anchor, so we'll have it down in a sec.
Our journey has been just 20 nautical miles, taking us from the northern part of Croatia down to the islands, which are home to some of the best cruising spots in the world. We'd planned to anchor in Mali Lushin, but our rather slow progress and the stormy weather means we spend a rather rocky night here instead. Unsurprisingly, we are the only boat. The next day we head to the main island and plan a visit to the town. We're running low on water and could do with getting some supplies, so we decide to spend the night in the Marina. It turns out to be an excellent place to stop. A lovely town, good facilities, though a little pricey at €90 a night.
That's Judy just bringing the laundry back. I should go and help her really, but she's managing. She's getting on there. I'm just going to put the battery on the dinghy because we're going to go up and do some provisioning, which is way up there. We try and get everything we can done on our few marina stops. We don't like stopping at marinas really. We tend to do it about once every 3 weeks, and that's mainly for water. If we'd got water, I think at the last petrol station we wouldn't have bothered, but you know, it's the time to get the washing done, get shopping done. There's no shops here locally. Everything's sort of closed at the moment in the smaller places, so we're going to town. It's a chance to do that, and a chance to chop the batteries up to full as well. Is that all done? Is that the last load?
Yeah, there's some sheets still in the dryer, but everything else is done.
Great. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We'll finish off topping off the batteries all in our various devices. As I say, we're doing really well on the solar. I think hopefully, touch wood, if our last remaining OGM battery lasts, we'll get through to the winter when we redo the whole thing properly.
Surprisingly, there's a ferry port here. It's very deep. I think that's why, you know, the big boats can get in here and they don't have a gradual up. We tried to anchor 20 metres, so that wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it's sure it shelves off really quickly, doesn't it, in the whole of this?
Oh yeah, there's another fuel dock there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of fuel docks then.
I don't think that one does water either by the look of it then.
No. We've just found one, haven't we, last year that did water.
Quite a pretty town though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's stick it up on the beach over here, shall we?
Okay, yeah, good idea.
Good thing about having a light dinghy, you can just lift it ashore.
Even I can lift it. 4 heavy shopping bags later and we're done. And next day, we're back where we like to be best, out at sea.
I was getting lost in the quicksand. Pink clouds didn't do into my head. On and on until I bled. Superstitious, kind of vicious. Knock on wood. I was getting lost. And before I understood, I was deep down on the bottom of a well. Sea grass was all I found. An alternative hell. No more cookies in this jar that I'll take it too far. Now I dwell in the sand like a fish on land. Like a fish on land.
That really was a fantastic sail, that last bit. For 3 hours we had the wind in the right direction, it was sunny and it was warm, it was lovely.
Yeah, it hasn't been predictable, the wind here, that's for sure. We haven't had the bora sort of come back that we had when we first came over, but it's not like sailing in Greece where you'll have no wind in the morning, full swell every afternoon, then it dies to nothing. We've had this weird thing where 8 o'clock at night on the dot, wind just switches on. Never had that before.
And really not an appropriate time, 8 o'clock at night, for that to happen. We were caught out once, and the rest of the time we've just been, in an Anchorage having dinner, wishing it was happening during the day.
Yeah, we have had a couple of days we've had to motor, but actually it's been flat calm and a pleasure. It's been beautiful scenery here to just sail around, and I mean things are working well. They're getting enough sun. I mean, I thought when we had the problem with the AGMs, that would be that we'd have to buy some more, which would be a shame because I want to refit with lithium in the winter, so I really want to buy new batteries now. But in fact, the one battery, and it's probably not a very good battery, is lasting us with our other devices, so I think we'd be fine.
Yeah, and we've also managed eventually to get the engine on the dinghy working, so that's been great as well, to know that that's there as a backup.
Yeah, we did another test because it didn't work below 2 knots. I wasn't expecting it to, but we had just a couple of hours motoring where we knew we'd be doing 5 knots, so I stuck it on there for a couple of hours and we got 20% out of it, which means actually if you sailed all day with it there, like today, a bit overcast, I might leave it on rather than bring it in here and charge it from the ship's batteries. I can just tow it, and by the time we get to the next Anchorage, it'll be full. It's great.
So the cue is, where are we going next? We're going to Split. We're going to pick up our daughter, who's going to stay with us for a few days or weeks, however long she wants to stay. And we'll explore Shribnik, I think, which is a great place to go inland, isn't it?
Yeah, you can go sort of up and into this sort of river tributary under a couple of bridges, and we can hang around there for a bit. And yeah, we're going to hire a car, go inland, see Split, because we missed that on the way down, and see a few of the sights and do some good sailing. So really looking forward to that.
So thank you very much to our patrons, thank you to our subscribers, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.